All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us tonight for our weekly study hall. Tonight, we are going to hand it over to STB and YoungFab. They did such a great job explaining the strat to us last week. It's definitely in high demand in my household, and so I know that you guys want it. So yeah, I'm gonna hand it over. Let me know if you guys put a one in the chat real quick if you guys can see STB's screen. And ladies, let me get a quick sound check and put a 2 in the chat if you can hear the lady's voice.
Testing 1 2 3.
All right, cool. So I'm going to jump on mute. If you guys have any questions, I'll be watching the chat, and I'll probably jump on and interrupt you with any questions that I see that are pressing. But go ahead, all you.
Thank you, Huey, and please do. And so real quick here, guys. Do want this to be an interactive presentation, not just me and YoungFab talking at you. So feel free to unmute yourself and interrupt us. Or if you don't feel comfortable speaking on the mic, or you cannot speak on the mic, then just go ahead, and we're watching the study hall channel. So please put your questions there. Real quick here, I had to put a disclaimer, just trying to make it official because that's what everybody else does. All the information that you're going to see tonight, this is just nothing I came up with. All of this information that I'm going to present, that me and YoungFab are going to present to you, these are just, for me, these are just notes that I've compounded from either my one-on-ones, from YouTube, from following Robin the Black, who is the one that created the strat, and just following other folks that are just more knowledgeable than myself, and just kind of compounding on my notes and and then we put this PowerPoint for you guys tonight.
Also, really quickly, I want to mention that the info at first, it can be very overwhelming, despite the strat being a simple system of trading. But once you get everything, it'll click. Like it took me like a lot. Well, not a lot. It took me a few times before I could even recognize the 1s and 2s and the 3s that we're going to go over later. So although it might seem a little overwhelming at first, once you start to get acclimated with it, it's going to click. I promise. All right, go ahead, STB.
So quick agenda here for us. Again, please do ask questions as you guys we're presenting to you guys. Real quick, we'll go through a quick introduction on both of us, and then we'll get into it very high level. There's no way that we can, this hour time that we're going to have together, that we can actually talk through on every single this topic. So each of these topics are very high level. We're just going to show you the very introduction of these topics. So please do your due diligence. Follow Robin the Black on Twitter, and go through some of the YouTubes that you see out there. But we'll just quickly go through the basics, just understanding basic, kind of touching on what we spoke about last week. We're just going to take a little deeper dive and make this an interactive. We'll go through the full time frame continuity, the broadening formation. We'll talk about the inside bar, and then the 50% rule. And then real quickly, we'll go through, just touch on a few favorite patterns that we found. And then finally, we're hoping to even provide you guys a watch list at the end of this presentation.
That is, I just got to jump on the mic and say that is amazing. I am very excited.
Awesome. Okay, so why don't you go first, YoungFab, on your introduction?
Okay, I guess we do have some new faces in here, a couple. So, well, if you don't know, I've been trading for almost 2 years now. I started learning how to trade options at the beginning of the pandemic. I had been trading stocks like when I was in college, which was many, many moons ago. And then I got reintroduced back into the stock market with options at the beginning of the pandemic around March. Watched so many YouTube videos, self-taught. I probably studied for about 4 or 5 months before I finally was like, okay, I'm ready to trade. And to come to find out, I wasn't ready to trade, and I was blowing my money left and right. So came across a group, met the mentors, took a class with JCat, and from there, the rest has been history. And I've just been focusing on scalping and momentum trading. That seems to be my go-to, my niche, and where I make pretty much all of my money. So yeah, that's my trading journey so far.
Awesome. Okay, so, and for those of you, we do have a couple faces that I don't think I've seen. So for those, my profile here says Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But you could call me STB. I like to change my name once a month. What it means is to remind myself to not to underestimate myself. Or it could also means an environment of people that are being underestimated. So that's it just so happens that that's also the Chinese year as well. I've been trading for about 15 months in total. Actually, Huey was the first person I spoke to live on a Discord setting. He lit a fire under my feet, and I can't turn it off. And I just kept running. His energy injected something in me, and I just wanted to learn all of the things about trading and so on. So mostly do scalps. I'm working on my swings, but for me, it's more of an emotional thing. I just work better when I scalp. I love the idea that I could just get my money right now, and then the next morning I'm sitting in cash and I could do it all over again. That's just my preference. That's not saying that you should be that way, but you could use the strat for both techniques, whether that be swinging or scalping.
Right.
Right. So let's just begin with the introduction of what is the strat. So again, the strat was developed by a guy named Rob Smith. And Rob Smith's been trading for about 40 years. He actually was trading for 20 years. And he just decided that wanted a more quantitative way of with price action. So he developed the strat. And then since then, he's been using the strat in the past 20 years. And you could use the strat for all assets, whether that be Forex, bonds, stocks, and crypto. And for many, using the strat, it helps them eliminate the market noise, and it only focuses on what we see price action. So the strat is very much about not what we think, what we see right in front of us. So there's no guessing. I added this image below because now all of these things that we're going to talk through tonight, we're actually doing them already. Stott and JCAT, which were my main mentors when I first started trading, they've always taught me price action, trade what's in front of you. I have all of these other indicators, and somehow, I don't know, I forgot my way, and I'm watching all these indicators trying to tell me. Now that I've applied the strat in the past 2 months, about 3 months, really just started focusing on the price action and allowing the candles to tell me what the price of the stock is doing. And I like this image because I like just to show you guys, right? Can you guys see my arrow? Can you see my arrow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I like to, like before I was looking for a moving average, to kind of tell me what it's doing and what I need to do. Now I'm really focusing on the price action of this candle. I love what Huey said last week in his video, called it, what did you say? You said it was a shadow of the price, right? So this wick is telling me a story. With the strat, I could really just focus on what the price is telling me. And it's really just 3 scenarios, which is really simple. With price action, there's only 3 scenarios that's going to happen in that given time frame that you're looking at. That's going to be either inside bar, a directional bar, or an outside bar. Let's get into it. Oh, but before we do, it's a continuation from last week's Huey's homework. Somebody's calling me. From the continuation from last week, he did a good job. If you haven't seen his video, please do so. Go follow him on Twitter. Go check out his video. He was talking about candlesticks and the price action, and that's all really he was talking about, which is awesome. Just to kind of a refresher on what he was talking about. And we know, just in case, Everybody here looks like they know how to trade, but real quick here, we know that price action, when you see a green candle opens at the bottom, the price action, right, it's going up. At some point, it was over here, and then the sellers, it looks like at first it came down, and then buyers kind of picked it back up, and it went all the way up high, and then the seller stepped in and started pushing the price down, and then now here it closed. So we have here shadow of the what we call supply zone. Same thing here for the bearish red candle. We know price opened at the top, and it pushed the price all the way down, and it closed here. It went all the way down, but then the buyer stepped in, and it closed, and we have this shadow here. And that's also going to be called the demand zone. Any questions? I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory here. Knowing that, let's talk about then the inside bar. Inside bar is also known as the number one. Basically, an inside bar, which is scenario one, is your consolidation period of a stock price. So basically, what makes it an inside bar, if the current bar is high, the current's buy high or the low, and that includes the wick, has to be inside the previous bar. That's going to be the scenario one. That's when your price action is consolidating. Inside bars, when we look for, we never want to trade the inside bar. Only trade the break of the inside bar. Inside bars, and the reason why is because inside bars could be a fake out. You could be, you get in on an inside bar, you'll just stay in this range, right? And you could get clapped, right? So we don't like to trade the inside bars. What we do like to do with the inside bars is we trade the break of an inside bar. And our price targets are going to be the wicks of the previous bar, right? We'll look here in a second. I think I have an example in my next one here. But I just want to point out that inside bars are very powerful. The strat, they're actually called an actionable signal, and in any trading philosophy, inside bars, we know it's an actionable. Something's going to happen after the buyers or the sellers decide who wins and who's going to be present. Here's an example, right, of how we use an inside bar. Have your inside bar here. What we're looking at here is the previous bar is still, right? It's inside the high and the low. And what we would pretend this bar here is not there. This is not there yet. All we know is yesterday and today, but tomorrow I want to be able to play the inside bar at the break of it. In this instance, as I'm showing you, I would enter into a play once I see the break of my inside bar. In this instance, it would be the high of the one. So right here, if there was a wick, it would be at the break of the wick. And then how do I figure out my target where I exit? Well, it would be the yesterday's high candle. In this instance, if there was a wick, I would use that as a target. Any questions here before I go on? I don't see any in the chat.
So I'm assuming that everybody's clear on inside bar and outside bar based on the fact that there's no questions here.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm a little nervous, guys. I hear my voice shaking, so.
Nah, you killing it. You killing it. And if you guys do have any questions, please, now's the time.
Okay, great. Thank you, Spider Boy. I need that confidence. Thanks, guys. Okay, moving forward. Let's talk about scenario 2. Scenario 2 is a directional bar. So leaving a consolidation price action period, right? This is very tight, going back and forth between bears and bulls, or buyers and sellers. Now, the next scenario is if that period has chosen a side, and that could be any time frame, right? Let's just say it's a daily. So after all day of going back and forth, finally it's choosing a side, and now it's called, this scenario, when we leave consolidation, is called a directional. It's and it's a 2. Basically, at that time, what it means is that it has chosen a side, and how we know what side won is looking at our candle. So if we look at this candle here, this is my inside bar, and directional scenario 2 is basically it only extended one side of your inside bar. In this example, what we're looking above, it broke the high of my inside bar here. Then, because up until this point, it was an inside bar. Then once it broke the high, made it a 2. In this instance, because it went up, we like to say 2U, which means 2 up. The same thing for the bottom. You know it's a directional bar to the downside because it broke the bottom wick, or the body of the previous candle below. Once it breaks this area, it goes down, and now it's called, in this instance, it would be a 2 down. So we have scenario 2 that could go 2 ways, either 2 up, which is a bullish scenario, or we could have a 2 down, which would be a scenario 2 going down to the downside. Move on. So I have another example for us. Same thing, right? So if we want to play the inside bar using a directional, want to play the inside bar, but how do I apply the scenario 2? So in this instance, let's say the third candle here to my right is not here yet. This is tomorrow's candle. Yesterday, I had a red 2 down. Now I have today's candle, I have an inside bar. So I'm going to want to play a put if I see a break of my lowest, whether a wick or a body, breaking that point and going down, I would get a put, and that's when I will enter. My target would be my first target would be the candle of the previous day, right? If this was a wick, that would be you could use that as your target. And you could have 2 contracts. I'm risky, so I probably would leave one contract and leave a runner. I probably just make this my target, leave a runner. Any questions? Okay, I see some questions. Making notes.
Questions. Yeah.
Go ahead, YoungFab. How do you set up screens?
Full on saying.
I'm sorry.
I'm just adding to my note plan from what you were saying earlier about the inside bar.
Making my notes to not
play the inside bar.
Is there a delay? I'm sorry, guys.
No, I don't think there's a delay. I think everyone. Well, maybe if you do experience a delay, go ahead and jump out and jump back in.
Okay. There's a bit.
So
of
do you
delay.
get my question? How do you set it up on the screen to have the ones up and the 2s down and all that? Is there like a special thing that you have to set up, or?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There's indicators, Spiderboy, that will give you that you could add to your charting platform. What charting platform do you use?
For TradingView.
Okay, yep, there is one, and we could send that out for you to add that into your indicators. So I know that with Trend Spider and Trading View and TOS, you could add indicator.
Still waiting on my homework session from Huey for TOS, but one day.
One day.
One day.
Okay, awesome. And then, okay, let's see
Sorry,
what
I'll
else.
jump off.
No, it's okay. Then full up, making my notes to not, okay. I think on my last strat move, it was a fake out, like you said, and didn't turn into a 2. Yes, yeah, 2s are, I do the same thing, Fola. I actually, before the strat, I thought that I should trade it inside bar. I was retarded. So I was always constantly trying to predict what I think the market is going to do, but we don't like to do that. We don't want to do that. That's how the easiest way to lose your money. Robots got fab, I think. Yeah, there's a bit of, okay. Okay, cool. Okay, I'll wait for YoungFab. Is she back?
I'm back. Can you hear me better?
I can definitely hear you clear.
Okay, I got to figure out what I'm going to do when I share my screen because I'm actually on my phone on the computer anymore, but we'll figure it out when we get to that part.
Okay, sounds good. Right, let's move on. Okay, so we understood, let's just where we are today. We understand what an inside bar is. There's actionable signal. We love to play the break of those. And we understand a 2 is a directional, whether it be a 2 up or a 2 down. And we play those at the break of the high of the previous candle. Right, so the last scenario here would be your outside bar. An outside bar is the opposite of an inside bar. It's pretty self-explanatory, which is if a candle extends above the high and the low of the previous bar, it would be a 3, right? It would be and that's called a 3, and that's going to be your outside bar candle. OB, it's another way that you will see for abbreviations. I guess I should say that real quick. Why I also like the strat is just because you could use these abbreviations and we know what it is. And when you're scalping, that's very helpful. You could go OB on the 5-minute FTC, right? Like it's just very easy to like just call these things out without having to write out the whole whatever you're seeing. So the scenario 3 has to become a 2 first. Oops. Oh no, sorry. Right, because it has to become a 2, whether it be if it gaps up, it'll be a 2 up. If it comes out and be a 2 down, or if it comes in and then it's an inside bar. But it always has to be a 2. Let's say it comes out and it's an inside bar. It will first have to go up, or in this instance, it will first have to go up, then for it to come down and then eat yesterday's low, and then it overextends. So that's pretty much it on the 3s. We like 3s because it just shows a lot of aggression and it shows who's in control. 3s are really powerful as well because it shows signs of reversal. Later, YoungFab will talk through some examples on how to use an outside bar or number 3. Hey, my love. Sorry, guys. My son just got in from his band practice. Okay, so let's go to the next. All right. So we kind of just like I said, please go to YouTube, get some more education. Do your due diligence on just the basics. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next piece. There's so much to talk about, but we only have a short amount of time, so let's go ahead and move on to the next key elements, which we're just going to very lightly touch on time frame continuity, broadening formation, and the 50% rule. All right. So time frame continuity. Time frame continuity is just a multi-time frame analysis. It's when continuity of the month or in the week changes, and we're able to see that on like you see here on my indicator. Spider-Bro, when we give you that indicator, you'll be able to see this on your screen. So this is not a second indicator. It will be on the same. I don't know about TOS, YoungFab, but I know with TradingView, it's on the same. It's just that one indicator.
You mean with the numbers, or where it tells you what the actionable signal is?
It's the time frame continuity. When you add, is that 2 indicators or is that 1 indicator in TOS?
They have one that has all of that combined, and then they have some that are like spread out. But I have the one that has all of them.
Sure. All right. So let's quickly hear, what is this chart telling you here? Just let me explain to you what it is, and then I'm going to share with you how I use it. So this it means hourly, then 4-hour, daily, weekly, monthly, and then quarterly. You'll notice that on top of the time, these are different time frames. So I could be sitting here on the hourly, and on the hourly time frame, I'm seeing this graph for me as well on the side. And what I'm seeing here is that, hey, on the shorter time frame, bears, everything you see red, the bears are in control in that time frame. So in the shorter time frame, I can say in the hourly, the bears are in control. On the 4-hour, the bears are in control. But if the IN, which is on top of this, 4H, you could see it's an inside bar. So although the bears are in control in this time frame, there's an inside bar forming, which is awesome because if I'm in the hourly, I'm watching this to see if this is 4-hour. After, if this is going to turn into a 2 up or a 2 down, which will, or continue a 2 down, which will then stay. You can see the D is a daily, and then the green is going to be where the buyers are in control in that time frame. And then you see the O here, that means it's an outside bar. It's a number 3. Our goal is to identify who is active and in control in the given market, whether buyers or sellers is in that given time frame. So what I like as a scalper, for me, coming in, I love to see all the time frames in control of one way or another. As a scalper, this is a dream for me. I could see that in all time frames, in this scenario, the bears are in control. So guess what? I'm going to be buying puts with confidence. That's for me. That's how I use the time frame continuity. It just gives me an indication to being confident in the direction that I'm choosing my trade. And obviously, we don't want to trade against the trend. So that's why this time frame continuity is really important. Key element. All right,
Yeah,
I'll move
just
on.
another way of saying that the trend is your friend. That's basically what it is.
Yep. Any question? I don't see any questions on the floor, so I'm going to keep going. Well, that's
Okay, so the next part we're going to touch on are burning formations. I will note that burning formations, they're more of an advanced technique going into the strat. Of course, the first things you want to learn are the numbers, how to recognize them, and a couple of patterns. Burning formations, they can be subjective. I'm sorry, they can be objective because there's many different ways that you can draw them. But basically, the way that we use burning formations in the strat, they say that support resistance is not drawn horizontally, that it's drawn diagonally. And so the key thing in the strat is using the multiple time frame analysis. And we use that because we can use smaller time frames to trigger things that we'll see in the larger time frames. And the burning formations help us see those a little bit clearer. So basically, what are they? It's just a series of higher highs and lower lows. And the way that we would depict it on a chart is you would have 2 diverging lines that are in the shape of a metaphor. So in the next slide, you'll be able to see exactly what it looks like. But the easiest way to draw a burning formation is to locate a 3. Locate that 3, or AKA an outside bar. And what you'll do is you'll go back a couple of candles or the candle before that and find the high that the 3 broke. The 3 would be the new high, and the candle you're going back would be the old high, and connect that line. And you'll do the same thing for the low, so that by the time you're done drawing, you've now a negative. So this is an example. I drew this of the 2, but I did it because originally it was at this 3, which is the magenta bar. But since the binding formation expanded, I moved it up a bit. And that's what can happen with binding formations. They can expand. We use the binding formations to notify us of any type of exertion risk. So normally the way that you would trade a binding formation, or the way that you would use a binding formation, is you're trading from the top of the binding formation to the bottom. And they use that to kind of give an indication that there's a possible reversal. So like once it's hit the top of the binding formation, you can probably expect to see exhaustion happen, and then we get a reversal. Now, this doesn't happen 100% of the time, but generally, this is how you use binding formation. Sometimes it can go right through the binding formation and expand. And you can also have binding formations within binding formations. It just depends on which time frame you're in. Also, I'll note that 3s on larger time frames, binding formations on lower time frames. And 3s normally denote reversals. So, yeah. Go back to the other side. I want to make sure I mention everything I was supposed to.
Sorry about that. I think I went too fast.
No, you're fine. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're used to gauge magnitude and where price could be going. So, okay, we can go to any questions so far about binding formations?
See anything in the chat?
Just last way says he loves binding formations when he finds them. Yeah, so this is an example of a binding formation that I drew on Shopify. Like I said, originally that top line was it started at the one before the 3, that magenta candle, but I redrew it actually today to include that big green candle that we had a couple days ago on Shopify. So this is an example of what a binding formation would look like. And like I was saying, it's objective. Somebody might draw it a different way, but this is how I saw it. And I would use this on this time frame and lower time frames to kind of give me an idea on where a possible reversal can happen. So I'd be watching for the next, few candles to see if they are going to touch the top of that binding formation and reverse. And that's how I use it. No questions? Binding formations got to come with faith. Yes. Okay, next slide. All right, so another key part of the strat is the 50% rule. The 50% rule, there's a couple of different ways that you can use it, but the main way to use it is to be able to spot possible outside bars forming. Also, it's used to let you know, like, let's say that you are in a play, you got in on a play, maybe like an inside bar play, and you've broken up with force to the upside, you've broken that inside bar, you're heading up, you're in a 2 up, right? And all of a sudden, it starts to reverse. So the way that we would use the 50% rule is if we start to see a reversal, what we would do is we would take that previous candle, use our Fibonacci retracements, or I know TradingView there's a special indicator for that, but I use Fibonacci retracements. It's just easier for me to do it that way. And you would measure the top from top to bottom to top. Doesn't matter. It's going to be the same. And you see where that 50% mark lies on that previous candle. And if that candle starts to retrace to that 50% mark or more, then you can either, if let's say you're in your calls, you can either cut for a loss or go ahead and take your profit and get ready to look to get into puts. Or you can, if you already missed the upside, you can then use that to let you know that it's a potential play for puts. So that's basically how the 50% rule is used. But like I said, there's a couple of other ways. Like even STB, she uses it a slightly different way. But this is how I use the 50% rule. Any questions? Yes, crypto. I'm saying broadening formation.
That 50% rule is a gem.
Definitely.
It is. I love it. Okay. More questions, it seems like. So I'm going to go to the next. All right. All right, guys, we're going to go now and talk through some patterns. Again, those key elements are fantastic. We barely scratched the surface. Please go to YouTube and do your own due diligence and get educated more on the 50% rule by Sarah. The Stratter actually came up with that. You can find her YouTube videos, the broadening formation, as well as the time continuity. You could find those as well with Rob Smith and some his YouTube videos. But real quick, we'll go through, just because of time, we're going to go through quickly here on some patterns. I'm going to go through just a couple that I've found that have been working for me. And then YoungFab is going to go through on a couple patterns that she found as well. And we'll share them here with you guys. Hopefully this will be helpful for you guys as well. So before I move on, this is actually Rob Black. You can find him on Twitter, but this is his like pattern sheet. There's some advanced techniques in here. But I found this to be a little bit easier for me. And I've been mostly focusing on the continuations patterns. And you could find this on YouTube, but we have a cheat sheet channel on Gold Rush, so you'll also find them there as well. All right, so let's talk about continuations and reversal patterns. I'll go and talk through real quickly on the continuation patterns. We talked about this already. But now I added the numbers, right? We know what this means, just a quick refresher. We already learned what an inside bar is and how we play the break of those. So now we're just going to look for those patterns, right? We already have our indicator on our trading view, on our TOS, and we know, we're going to pretend that the green, the candle to my right all the way, it's tomorrow's candle. All we know is this one here is a 2, and I have a 2 up, and dang, look, I have an inside bar. I'm really excited because tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm looking for a 2-1-2 continuation. I'm looking for this to break my high level of my inside bar and go up, and I'm going to buy calls. And for me to go ahead and complete my 2-1-2 bullish continuation. Same thing for my bearish continuation, right? Talked about this already. So if I'm looking to do a 2-1-2 bearish continuation, I am looking for tomorrow's candle to break the bottom of this wick or the body of this candle so I could get puts at this break of an entry and then just continue going down. My first target is going to be at the previous candle low. Continuation to my right, I also like to play. This is really easy for me. I just love these. Just very simple. Again, what we're doing to get in to enter is the break of the previous candle's high. Same thing here. Break of my previous candle high. And then the same thing for the bearish side. Okay, I don't see any questions. Oh no, I think I have one more.
Oh, can you go back to that other slide real quick? So if you look at the 2-1-2 bullish continuation measured move, the one on the bottom left towards the middle, that's a 3-bar play right there. That's beautiful.
No, me and YoungFab been talking about that. I'm like, the 2-1-2s, are they really just a 3-bar play? Is that what they are?
That's what they do look like 3-bar plays, but I guess depends on how it shows up on the chart, but they kind of do look like 3-bar plays. Especially the one the one in the middle, the 2-1-2, the ones in the middle, those look like.
The one has to be a small one. It can't do it can't break 50% of the previous, but I just listen. They call me Huey 212 for a few reasons, and one of them is because of 3-bar plays. So I'm loving this right now.
Okay, nice.
And what I liked about the 212 is because it's simple for me. At least it's simplified. Not, again, guys, this is just another tool for your belt. Continue if something is working for you and you're making money, continue doing that. This is not to change anyone's philosophies or the way they go about trading. This is just another tool that I've added to my belt that's working for me. Before I haven't drawn a bunch of lines. I don't know. It's been a few weeks. I love about the 212 now is that I just know oh, okay, well, now I'm just going to have to get my target is going to be the previous candle or and it's just been super helpful for me instead of trying to figure out, well, what is my exit? So really enjoy the strat here using this pattern. Okay, so real quick, one more slide on my end. Talk about hammers and inverse hammers, or they call them shooters. Do you know what those are? Anybody want to take a stab at it?
Hammers and shooters. What do you guys? Let's see it in the chat. What do you guys think? What do you see those as when you can see it right on the chart? Hammers and shooters. What kind of pattern is that? I know the answer. I want people to. I think AT got it. Let's see.
He said two up, two down.
Even simpler than that. Yeah, there you go.
Crypto has it exactly. Yes, exactly that. A hammer and a shooting star are just found at a hammer is found at the bottom of a downtrend, and a shooting star is at the top of an uptrend. That's what it is. And it's real quick here. Let's just talk about this here. So on the hammer, what is it doing here, right? So it was a bearish, it was a downtrend, it's getting killed. The stock is getting killed. And then boom, we have here this candle that the press went all the way down. Bears were like, yep, it's going down. And then boom, the buyers were like, nope, they came in and they started going up. And it stopped right here. If this session would have had more time and continued going up, price would have continued going up. But it ended, so now that's why we have this hammer. As you can see here, the next candle is a continuation of this session. It continued, and the price kept going up. As hammers and shooters or inverse hammers are very powerful in the strat and in any trading philosophy. It's another actionable signal, just like the inside bar. And we like to play those. They're at the top or at the bottom of a trend. You'll see another name that will come up. It's called a Momo hammer or a Momo shooter. All that means it's abbreviation for momentum. And what it means is just that session was a very long wick, which means very strong, right? This is an actionable signal candle, and we have a long wick. We will say, hey, that's a Momo hammer, meaning just like this was a very strong session. Pause there. Any questions?
Okay, so now we're going to talk about my favorite patterns. I also want to note that when I first started learning about the strat, the thing that kind of turned me off to it is because remember that chart that STB showed us? It had all those patterns. And I'm like, how am I supposed to memorize all these patterns? Am I supposed to know this entire sheet to be able to trade it effectively? And so last year when I had said that, I was like, I got to learn this, and I'm not going to learn all these patterns when I can just making money off of just regular price action trading. Not even knowing that it is action trading. But I say that to say that in the strat, you don't have to trade all of those patterns. You can pick one or two that are your faves. It could be like a one-trick pony. And you can say that you only like to trade 2-1-2s, or you only like to trade 3-1-2s or 1-2-2s. It's just whatever whatever pattern you vibe with. And the two that I seem to like the most so far are Nirvanas and Holy Grails. So Nirvanas are basically an inside bar or a 1, followed by an outside bar 3. And this is a very strong reversal pattern. And in the strat, when we look at the 1s and 2s, we don't care what color it is. It could be green, red. Normally, we're programmed to think that if we see a green candle, it's going to the upside. If we see a red candle, it's going to the downside. But in the strat, you can have a 2 up that's red. So when we look at 2s in the strat, it doesn't matter the color. But with 3s, it tends to matter what the color is, because with this Nirvana pattern, if you have a candle that closes as a green candle for the outside bar, normally what's supposed to happen is the next candle will be it will continue in an upward direction, and if it closes as a red candle, it's supposed to continue in a downward direction. Of course, it's not 100%. But more times than not, this is what happens. And I'll show you a couple of examples in the chart when we switch to that. But real quick, Holy Grails are just the opposite. It's still a reversal pattern, except you have the outside first, or the 3, followed by an inside. This is a really powerful pattern to play as well. And basically, you're playing inside bar pattern. So you had a 3, and then followed by 1. And we know that 1s denote consolidation. The buyers or the sellers haven't made their presence. We're just trading sideways candle. So once the next candle is about to form, we use that inside candle to know if we break above the high of the inside candle, we should look for calls. If we break below the inside candle, we should be looking for puts. So it's a really easy. Those two are really easy patterns to play. Like I've been scalping with it ever since I learned about these patterns. I didn't use it as much today, but yesterday when SPX and SPY was giving us puts 1 minute and calls the next, and then puts and then calls, and going back and forth, I was using strictly the strat, trading it. I would only get in when I saw a 1-3 pattern or the 3-1 pattern. And I was making money up and down trading SPX using those patterns. And I'll show you what it looks like so you can have a better visual. But in this chart, this is just an example of SPY. So you'll see, if you can put your cursor over the inside bar. So that's the inside bar. And next to it, the magenta bar is the outside bar. And I don't know if you can see it, but outlined, that candle is red. So as you can see, once we broke the low of that outside bar, we began to flush. It denoted that we were about to go to the downside. And and also notice that the candle is a pretty big momentum candle. So I also want to mention that you can have a 1 and 3, but depending on how big of a magnitude that candle is will depend on how big the upside would be and how big the flush could be. So I would also keep that in mind. But so once you see that inside bar followed by that outside bar, begin to look for a potential play. So if you see it, get ready to break either side depending on how it closed. You'll know how to play it. You have to wait for the break of the candle before you can enter, or it won't be a valid actionable signal. Any questions so far? Nobody's? Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Super Carb is going to put the kiddo to sleep, and he would like to see the PowerPoint presentation. I certainly can share the PowerPoint. Just know this is, it's not my information. Don't sue me. Okay. Let's go.
Okay, so these are some common terminologies that you'll see, that you heard other stratters say. And I did this slide because sometimes lately we've been using these abbreviations or speaking in the strat, so to speak. And so I kind of wanted you guys to be able to recognize them in case you see us talking about it on the floor. You can kind of follow what's going on. So IB means inside bar, OB outside bar, aka an engulfing bar. A TTO means triangle they out. And it just means a pullback. It's just corrective activity. They just like to say TTO. I don't know why the strat has so many different names for things that have already been established, but they do. A mother bar is multiple consecutive bars trading within the range of a previous candle, and that just means consolidation. BF means bonding formation. Pivot machine gun, or PMG, is a pivot machine gun, and that's just after consecutive higher highs or lower lows have occurred. A reversal occurs where the next candle or a couple of candles takes out all the pivots of the previous candles. And if you look in this bottom right corner, this is an example of a pivot machine gun. Momo bar, that's a candle that breaks with momentum or force. Turnaround Tuesday, this is a phenomenon that they say, let's say that Monday was spent all day buying, that you can expect the next day on Tuesday to be selling. And it's the opposite. If Monday was a day of selling, we can expect the next day to be a day of buying. Before I even knew what Turnaround Tuesday was, I did used to notice that whatever happened on Monday, it was the opposite. I just didn't know that there was a terminology for it. But yeah, it's called Turnaround Tuesday, apparently. We already went over hammer shooter. We know that the hammers and shooters are reversals, but it also depends on where you're finding them. If you see a hammer at the bottom of the downtrend, it normally denotes that we're about to go to the upside. If you see a shooter at the top of an uptrend, it means that we're about to go to the downside. An inverted hammer looks like a shooter, but it's bullish, and it can be found at the bottom of downtrends. And the last one is the flip. The flip is basically on any time frame, whether it's the minute, the hourly, the quarterly, the monthly, the weekly, it flips to a new candle. And we like to pay attention to that because it can affect our our time frame continuity. So we like to check on that. We like to chart it and know that, let's say that right now SPY is an inside month. I don't know if it really is. I'm just using it as an example. But let's say SPY is an inside month and we're moving into the next month. We want to check to see what's going to happen if it breaks below or above that and see how it changes time frame continuity so we can get a good idea on should we be playing calls or should we be playing puts. So that's what the flip is.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, just a lot of commentary about waiting for the confirmation of bars breaking.
Yes, we definitely have to wait for the break of the bars. And also, we should wait for it to break with momentum because I was playing CVS last week and it was an inside bar, I think like Wednesday or something. So I had plotted my entries and exits, my entries for calls or puts. And it started to break to above the trigger for calls, but it only broke about maybe like 12 or 16 cents above that. And then it started to reverse. So luckily it didn't have enough momentum enough for me to hop right into the play, even though it did break that above that trigger. And luckily I didn't because it reversed. And then it just turned into a play where you could have just played puts that day. So even though we're using the breaks of the top and bottoms of the candles, we have to make sure it breaks with momentum before we just hop in because it can reverse.
Right. Almost here. This is going to be the time where we switch. So Huey, you want to play some music while we do break? No, I'm just kidding. Next time we'll have next time we'll have a DJ. No, I'm just kidding.
That'll be dope. Okay, I'm gonna try and switch to my computer so see if you guys can hear me on my other computer.
Okay, let me know when you're ready. I'll stop sharing.
So Bless G says, what time frame do you use most often?
For me, I use the 1 and 5 minute. Well, what I'll normally have pulled up on my trading view is I have 1, the 5, the 15, and the 30, but I normally enter and exit on the 1 minute, but I'll use the 5 as confirmation, the 5 and 15 for confirmation. But if I use the 1 minute to enter, I have to use the 1 minute to exit. So it depends, because sometimes a lot of times you're going to see the actionable signal on the 1 minute before you'll see it on the 5 minute. But it depends on if you get shaken out easily, if you should even use that. If you do, then I would say at least start at the 15 minute to use the strat.
I would echo what YoungFab said. I do the same. As a scalper, we're using the shorter time frames. If you're a swinger, you want to use the larger time frames. I even use a 30-second. I was talking to Huey on Friday last week, but
that 30-second had me stressed out, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that to STB. I don't think I can go down to a 30-second.
Yeah. So I use the same thing, right? If I'm scalping, my larger time frame I'm choosing is going to be the 15-minute. I even like to see the 1 hour as well. I definitely look at all the time frames when I'm doing my watch list just to see the direction. But when I'm actually scalping, then I switch to the 1 hour, 15-minute. Then I go into my 5 minutes what I'm watching, and then I go into my 30-second or 1 minute to enter and exit.
Yep.
So are you doing it for scalping in the 1 minute or 5 minute? Am I doing it? Yeah. I don't know if I understand your question. Are you asking me, am I scalping on the 1 minute or the 5 minute, dear boy? But you like to talk on the mic. Can you not talk?
For scalping in 1 minute or 5 minute. For me, I use my 1 minute to scalp. And I use the other time frames, the higher time frames for confirmation.
I can talk. I'm just in the hospital right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm with my dad. But no, yeah, I'm just asking if you're doing it on the 1 or the 5 minute, because I finally got it on my screen and it's looking lovely for IWM. So super excited.
Let me see what IWM is doing.
Did you add your indicator? Did you add the
I did. I just added it. Yes. So now I see what I did today. And you know what I've been doing, and I'm like, oh man, look at that! I would have got out here. I got out a little too early there.
Yep, it for me was the same way. When I applied the indicator, I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, for sure.
It's very simple. Trading became very simple for me because all I got to do is watch the last 3 candles. I don't got to watch. I still use what I've learned, which that's the thing about us. We already know all of this thing. Not new traders. Well, most of us in this call. So I still have my 9 EMA, my 21. And everything I still have. This is just another tool. So now I'm just loving it because I could just focus on my 3 candles and add on to already what I already know. So it was eye-opening. When I added the indicator, I was like, oh, this is the fucking mistakes I'm making. I'm making these mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely see them.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
You ready to share?
Can you guys see my screen?
Oh, let me stop sharing.
Oh, I may have to reshare then.
What I miss?
And
late as usual. Where you been?
Well, I was changing my brakes on my car.
You all are doing a very good job.
9:30.
Thank you, Paula.
It's 9:30 at night. I'll take your excuse.
I don't know, man. You're gonna give me some parlays or something. I don't know.
Was I sharing my screen? I don't know how to do this. Okay. Can you guys see my screen now?
I see this.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to show you guys one of the examples from yesterday when I was scalping SPX. I mean, this is SPY, but it's the same thing. So on the 5 minute, you can see this pattern even better. But so here we have the Nirvana pattern. We have the inside bar followed by this outside bar. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's outlined in green. So when I saw this, I waited for the next candle to form. And once it broke up with this, including that wick, I didn't get in on this candle because I didn't see enough momentum. But once I saw that it was continuing to the upside, I did go ahead and get in on this candle, and I scalped it for, I think I was in the play for about 15 or 20 minutes. So I got out around here. But that's how I use it. I wait to find my 1 and 3 or my 3 and 1, mainly my inside bars, and I'll play it because I like to play 2 and 2 patterns as well. But that day I was playing a lot of 1 3s and 3 1s. And here's an example of what I meant by depending on the magnitude of the outside candle. If I'm going to take that play, it's still, I wouldn't have took this. And plus this closed as a red candle and it went to the upside, then it flushed. But this candle didn't have enough magnitude for me to think it would be a good enough actionable signal. So I wouldn't have gotten in here, but this setup is a really good example. Any questions? I can't see the,
yeah, we have a question by Homegrown Wealth. Hi, Homegrown Wealth. He just asking which platform is this on?
So this is TradingView.
Yeah, no, he's talking. He posted a image that it looks like Huey posted an image when he was trying to promote tonight's class. Huey, what platform were you using?
Yeah, that's TradingView. And it's the same. It's TradingView with the same indicator set that Fab has on the screen right now.
Oh, you just have a white background.
Yeah. I like to burn my retinas.
Oh, speaking of the script, so if you have TradingView, I use 2 different scripts. I don't normally use this one anymore. I just needed it because it takes the numbers on the bars all the way back. The other one stops at like 200 bars. But this one is called the Strat Assistant. Where is it on here? Where's indicators? Really, I don't know.
Hit that little number 9. Oh, there it is. Never mind.
But it's called the Strat Assistant by Ricky Kazal or something. If you just type in the Strat Assistant, it'll pop up. But the one that I like to use is called the Strat Teach V2. The guy that made it, I don't know if it's public now, but if it's not, I know he said eventually he's going to make it public. He just had to do some tweaks to it. So, and I'll show you why I like that one better. I can figure out which one of these it is. Okay, it's this one. So I like this one because if you look at this box right here, it has some really good information. So under actionable signals, it gives you an idea of what the next candle could possibly be. So it'll tell you like the next, if this happens, then if a 2 forms, then it could be a 3-2-2 rev, and it's an actionable signal, and you can take it at the break of candle. It also gives you your time frame analysis. So like here, we've already learned that the trend is your friend. Here is telling us that for the most part, besides the quarterly, that we are in full frame time continuity to the upside. We should be playing calls on SPY is what this is telling me. Then here, this is important for like other tickers or for any ticker. This is the ATR. And basically it just tells you about how many points the ticker can move in a day, which is important when you're setting your price targets and stuff, that they're not like completely out of the way. But yeah, so this, you can customize it. You can have it to where it only shows you the 1s and 3s. You can change the color of the bars. It comes with the VWAP embedded, the 9 and 21, or you can change them to whatever value. Yeah, it's a really good indicator, it saves the time of having to guess, like, is this a 2 or is this a 1, or this is kind of close, I don't know if this is going to be a 3. So it's already there for you. You just look at it. It makes it easier to get in and out of trades using the strat because the numbers are there. Okay, so the last part of our presentation, we were just going to go over.
Okay, so hold on a second. We have some questions.
Oh, okay. Can you read them out? I can't see before.
I will. So Bless G said, how do you set your target using Nirvana?
Oh, good question. Okay, well, see, with the strat, you're supposed to use the last candle as your first target, as your first pivot point. So, like for example, this 212 right here, what you would do is you would have waited till it broke above either side of this candle, and apparently it's a 2 down, so it broke below this. So what you would do is you'd set your entry once it breaks below this candle, and your target would be here. This is a pivot point, and this would be your first target. Obviously, it didn't reach it, but this is the 5 minutes. So I mean, those targets, we like to put targets on higher time frames. So maybe I should show you something on the daily. So you basically, if you were wanting to use this as an actionable signal, you plot your entry for calls or puts, because we play whichever side is given to us. And then let's say that we wanted to plot for puts, and I'd say that the break of this candle is where I would enter puts if the candle for the next day breaks with momentum to the downside. And my first target would be this pivot point here. My second target would be this pivot point here, and you just bam, bam, and you keep going down until you've reached those pivot points. And that's not to say that SPY is going to drop all the way through all of your pivot points in one day. That's just to give you an idea on where you would put your stops. So does that answer your question?
Good job, fam.
Thank you. Who's that, ATL?
I snuck in on y'all ass.
Like a fool.
Okay. It looks like that was that helped her answer her question.
Okay.
Next question here is X last ways. You say momentum for the break of the bar on the Nirvana. Are we looking at price action or volume?
Oh, good question. We're looking at volume. We're looking at both, because straters don't use volume as much as you would think they do. So I'm going to say price action. I look at volume too, because I'm just used to looking at volume and how it relates to price action.
I think when he asked that, you were talking about there was a 1-3, but the 3 was a doji, and so you said there wasn't enough, there wasn't enough of a body on there for you to take action on it.
Right. And see, I wouldn't have been taking action on the 3 anyways. I would need for it to form. So by that time, I already know if it's going to be an actionable signal that I would trade. So I would have known. Actually, I don't know. That was on the 5 minute. I would have known to not trade it once that 3 closed, because it wasn't enough momentum behind that candle. Does that make sense?
Just gonna assume, hopefully he's not typing yet, so let us know if you need further clarification. Oh, he's typing. Hold on, let's see what he says. I know what S. Dot and Huey and T Money go through. We gotta wait till somebody wants to type instead of just getting on the mic, but it's all good.
It's just like trading. It's you just gotta wait. You
just gotta wait. Okay. All right. So he said thank you. Okay, so it sounds like he's clear. The next question is, what's the name of the indicator? Chanel. I'm assuming you were talking about the Strat Teach V2 or the Strat Assistant. Let us know if that's not the indicator you were looking for. The next one says
right here, it's the Strat Teach V2 by Nagami 7. Mm-hmm. That's the one that is on right now. And then the other one is called the Strat Assistant by, oh wait, it doesn't have the, it's just Strat Assistant. And it's by Ricky Z. Carroll. Kazab. It's Carroll.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Crypto, it's so good to see your name back on here. Y'all might make me go back to candles. What? So get on the mic. What are you talking about? What do you use?
Hey, Fab, I got a question for you.
Okay.
So one of my issues I'm having is I'm finding first, second, and third price target. Can you go over that a little bit for me, please?
You're having trouble finding a second and third price target?
First, second, and third price target. Say it's going up or going down. For instance, how you just went over, say everything's dropping, or you buying a put and you're looking for first price target. I don't know exactly what first price target would be.
So depending on what time frame you use to set your entries and exit, let's say we're using this daily. And also I'll say that that's the only part of the strat that I don't use. I still trade it my way, where when I see my first 40-50%, I take my profit and I leave the runners. That's not what they do. They actually wait for those pivot points to be hit. And so let's say we want to use this as an example, and we think that this is going to be a pivot machine gun to the downside that starts tomorrow, right? So we wait until we get the break of this candle, and we're going to use these candles as our targets. The bottom of these candles are pivot points. If it was to the upside, the top of these candles would be pivot points. But since we're saying that we're wanting to play this for puts purpose, I would set my entry here, and then my first target would be here. The reason why they use those pivot points as targets is because normally that's where people put their stops, and it's called stop hunting. We're basically as we're going down, we're knocking out all those stops and pushing people out of those calls. So that's why we use the bottom of the candles as targets. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next question here we have, has anyone looked into making this strategy automated?
Automated?
Crypto TZ, what do you mean? Do you want to get on the mic and clarify your question? I mean, you could automate. The only automation that I'm thinking of the top of my head would be add alerts. And on TOS, can you add where a certain target hit you enter automatically?
Yeah, I'll show you guys how to do that next week.
Yeah, awesome. I can't do that shit with my broker, but y'all have fun.
You can do it with TradingView.
Yep. I'm gonna be doing that whenever I get ready later, and with futures, maybe, I don't know. Okay, the next thing, ATR average true range. Oh, there you go. I just saw your trader's favorite trader put in a link to answer crypto's question. So I'll probably be watching that too. Thank you for posting all these. Thanks, ATL. I don't think we have it. Do we have any more great explanation? Okay, so X Blast Toys has your ZOM call looking nice on the daily with the strat indicators. I just want to make sure we have all these questions. We still have one more portion, one last thing to show you guys. So we got it an inside bar. Okay.
This is for ZOM. So does anybody know how you would play this particular play for tomorrow?
Yeah, good question.
Based on what you guys learned today, how would you play XOM with the setup that you see on the screen right now? And it's kind of cheating because Fab because this indicator set has some of the entries built in already.
I can turn it off. Hold on.
So what you would do is I'm kidding.
Wait, I don't even know how to turn that other one off.
Yeah, they basically got it. Homegrown said over last high. G said wait for the next bar to play out, enter the top of 2. AT said enter above yesterday high of day. J Mitch said enter calls at break of today's high of 82.20. Yeah.
Yep.
Very simple.
Yeah, I got it. Very simple. That's why I love these inside bar plays.
Right. So I think we have just skimmed through it. I believe I answered everyone's question. If I missed your question, just please pardon me, just rewrite it again. But I think we got everyone. So I want to just go ahead and show them how to create a watch list.
Yeah. I don't know where that indicator is. Okay, I guess it's fine like this. Okay, so not how to create a watch list, but how to find potential plays. And if anybody knows me, most of you guys already know that I trade pretty much the same tickers every day. But
I got a question. Before you go further, I got a question. So, normally when you trade, well, I know Fab, you're like you're quick with it. Do you recommend like waiting 15 minutes into the market before you start trading the strat, or are your strats set up on a daily, or do you just jump in safe? The first candle opens up over what is it, 81, 84? Do you wait for the first? Say you're trading the 15 minutes. Do you wait for the first 15 minutes to close, or do you be quiet? Do you just? I know, Fab, you probably just take it, but would you recommend just trading?
I wait.
Okay.
If it's a ticker that I haven't like really traded that often, like these oil tickers are new to me, cat is new to me, the defense tickers are new to me, I wait the first 15 minutes. What I learned when I had my one-on-one though is that they're so sure about, only 1 or 3 things can happen on the next candle that they say that once it breaks that trigger that you can get in. But me, I like to wait a little bit to make sure, because I'm used to playing confirmations. And, sometimes waiting a little bit is good. I wouldn't wait too long, but me personally, I wait a little bit. I don't just hop right in. So especially first thing in the morning. Only time I hop right in on something first thing in the morning is Spire SPX, and I'm probably hopping right back out until it's time to get back in. But yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I've gotten myself clapped by jumping in right at the beginning. But remember what we talked about, the 3 scenarios, right? We're looking at the break. So if you're doing a swing, and you're going to want to just ensure that you're going to hop in at the break of the candle, upside or to the downside, whatever you're playing.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so real quick, TradingView, this is a new computer. For some reason, I used to have them all under like certain sectors, but now they're like not in order. So the way that I normally scan for potential plays for the next day is I do it one of 2 ways. It depends on how I'm feeling. So Thinkorswim has its own script where you just load it on the watch list and it'll tell you what pattern is forming, a potential pattern that's going to form. But with TradingView, they don't have that. I know TrendSpider has really good scans. I think they're actually better than Thinkorswim. And it can scan for like a lot of different things. But when I'm looking for potential plays, I like to look through each chart on my TradingView watch list. And I like to look for inside bars, because inside bars are the easiest things to play. I sometimes look for 2-2 reversals too. Those are pretty good patterns to play if you find them on the daily. And the 2-2 reversal, an example would be like right here. You have you'll have two candles, but this candle right here is not really part of the pattern. But you'll have two candles that are going in the same that are in the same direction. This is a 2 down. This is another 2 down, and then you can say that the next thing that could happen is once it breaks above this candle, that you're going to get a 2 up, making it a 2-2 reversal. So I like playing those sometimes as well, and I'll look for those on the chart. But what I'll do is I'll go through each ticker, starting at the top. And like I said, I normally have it sectioned off into sectors so I can see which sector, like where the money is flowing into and stuff like that. But I'll go through each chart and I'll start looking for inside bars. So we'll start with Amazon. Amazon did great today, but no inside bar. Why is it doing that? Nike gapped up today, but no inside bar. Okay, so Cat had an inside bar today. So what I would do is once I found an inside bar on the daily is I would take my my lines and I'm gonna plot the high and low of this candle. And the reason why I'm doing that is because this will tell me on lower time frames where I would need to get in for calls or puts. So I'm going to put my line here at the top of this candle. And then I'm going to put another line here for the bottom of this candle. And some people, they like to use like different colored or thicker lines, but I'm not going to remember that. So I like to put notes, and that's what I like about writing views. I can write directly on my chart. So what I would do is I would put possible 212 up entry calls for this line, and I'll try to make it possible. And then because it's such a short range on here, and then I would do the same for here, except I would put possible 212 down entry puts. And then what I would do is once I've plotted that, I would then go and plot the targets. So I need to go back a little bit for this because there's nothing above this area right here that would give me a pivot point. So let me zoom out. How do I bring my chart down? It's up so high.
If you double click where the price scale is, it'll fix it for you.
Okay. I'll break it down a little bit. I can't do it now. But anyways, so I would then plot my target 1, which should be this pivot point, or I even could I'll probably put it right here as my target 1, and I would just put profit target 1 calls. And then I would do, I'm not going to put another profit target because I think that's like it's all time highs.
So
I think.
So
You can unclick
Fab. This was what I was sort of talking about. Like, so how you put your first price target, right? That was, what was that? What was your first price target? I'm sorry.
230.35. It's the only price target I'm on here so far.
Okay, is that all-time high you said?
I don't know. Let me check.
Okay, so if you go back, what are you on the daily? If you go back,
so the all-time high is actually 246, or the 52-week high is 246.69.
Okay, so you would have to take your chart all the way back to that actual all-time high, and then you would look for your second and third price target, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, but I'm going to stop here with my price target because I'd have to go all the way back here to find the next pivot point, which would probably be it's 246. So that's why I said for the calls, I'm only going to put that one price target.
Okay, all right. So I kind of get the gist of what
So
my
I'll do
original
another one
question
after
was.
this and see if it'll give me more pivot points to the upside. But as far as like the downside, it's a little bit easier to see. So this is where we would get in for puts, this line right here, right? So my first target is going to be this pivot point, this low here. This is the most recent pivot point. That's my first target for puts. So if I had space, I would, if I do have space, it's going to go under. So I'll just denote that this is price target 2 puts. I mean, not 2, sorry, it's price target 1. Then I would be able to find a second price target because Pat has an ATR of 6.48. So I would find a second price target and I would plot it here at this next pivot point because this is the next recent low on the chart or pivot point. So this would be my price target 2. Price target moved.
So you're saying you set another one because you want to capture some of that 6.48 range?
Yes.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. And then you could
another thing. Does everybody know what a pivot point is?
The question: does everyone know what a pivot point is? Okay, well, a pivot point is basically a previous high or low. Like I was saying, people normally put their stops below these candles, and they say that it's any significant turn or change. Well, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Do you have a better definition, STB?
Or pivot point? I mean, it's just, I'm searching online right now. It's just a calculation used to determine overall trend in the market depending on different time frames. So you could use a pivot point. Like I like to use pivot points. The high of the monthly, the high of the weekly, the high of the daily, or you could use points on a shorter time frame.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then
go ahead.
And then just so that, and I'm drawing my lines based on that. Does that help? Did that answer the question?
Oh, was that directed to me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, what was it? I didn't hear it. I was replying to a message.
Oh, come on, Hove. Why are you gonna ask a question and look away, man?
Well, I heard Fab's explanation, but I didn't hear STB. I was replying to a message.
That's messed up, man. That's cold.
Come on.
But I do have a question whenever he's done.
Go ahead, STB. You got my undivided attention.
It's okay, Hope. I actually put an indicator on the floor that I use from another resource that I found. I've been testing it out for about 2-3 weeks now, and it does it for you. Those pivots does the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly, the yearly. It's also fully customizable if you use TradingView. So
that's TradingView. I use TOS.
Okay, so then the pivot points would be
pivot points too, I think.
You could just do the pivot points based on each different time frame.
Okay, so what do you mainly trade your strat setup on STB? What time frame?
So I scalp. So I use I'm scalping on the 30-second and the 1 minute. But I find my
entry.
You need
to get rid of that damn 30 seconds. What are you doing with 30 seconds?
I just like to get in and to get out. I'm using that. I use that or the 1 minute. But I'm liking the 30 seconds. The more I use it, actually. But no, I find I'm still studying the larger time frames. So the daily, right, the weekly, the monthly, all that stuff, right. And then when I'm getting ready to go into a scalp, I do like to still do the 1 hour and the 15 minute to see the direction that I wanted to get. If of what the stock price action is doing for puts or calls, and then I jump into the smaller time frames to get in and also exit. I'm watching. If I'm scalping, watching the 1 minute. I'm watching the 5 minute. I don't. The 15 minutes just to see the larger story of what's going on with the price action. But I'm definitely in my 5 minute. I also work. So my scenario is different than YoungFabs or a lot of other folks. So you're gonna find your own. We're just providing you with the tools to help me. Why I scalp the way I scalp is because I'm in the middle of a work meeting. I just got off a work meeting. Before I go to my next work meeting, I only have 10 minutes. So I'm going in there and and that's why I use the 30. Why I started using the 30 second. I literally only have 2 minutes to scalp. I'm a degenerate or whatever else the people like to call people that are over traders. I like to trade a lot throughout the day. So I'm going in real quick to see if I can scalp real quickly. And so that's why I use the very short time frames. You're listening, or did you kind of left me?
Oh, I'm here. I was thinking of another question for you, but
I'm like, did you ghost me again? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm here. I was thinking of another question, but I think I'll just do that on another time.
So Spider-Boy had a question. So for IWM, the daily, I would set for high of today and low pivot points. 208.80 to the upside or 205.77 to the downside. I don't know. Let me look at IW.
He said the nurse just walked in, so we'll wait to answer his question when he can hop back in.
All right, me again.
I'm gonna fight you later.
All right, I'm sorry. So I know you guys like to use the 1, 5, 15, 30, and sometimes daily.
It's daily.
As per other strat users who likes to use, the other time frames, have you guys used those time frames and see any results?
What you mean for like swing trading or something? Because anything higher than that, besides like maybe, I guess we would use those higher time frames. Like you mean like the monthly?
No, like the I'll talk to you guys in private, actually.
Okay.
All right.
Just the thing to say though, like whatever time frame you using to enter, that's the like YoungFab said earlier, you want to get out on that time frame.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is I know about the 5 minute and the 15 and the 30, but little girl, I'm trying to talk, please. I'm trying to get the other time frames that were recommended trading the strat. I'm trying to understand it more so I can walk away for an hour and come back and be able to recognize what's going to happen next. Stop, I'm trying to talk. That's why I said I'll talk to you guys in private.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going through the floor. I don't think I see any more. Oh yeah, just Spider Boy's question is the only one left.
Your favorite trader is typing something.
Yo, I think, and I'm not gonna cut you off here. I just want to mention that I think you guys did a phenomenal job. If anyone who's on the call, if you guys learned anything, go ahead and do me a favor, drop a GIF in the chat, just supporting these ladies. They killed it tonight.
Oh, definitely. These girls are rock star.
Thanks, Hove.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Can I do premium pumps or no? Fab?
Just this one time.
No.
Okay, I won't.
Thanks, guys. So nobody has any other questions? It seemed like the information was overwhelming. Do you feel like you might have got like a good grasp on it, and you can further your studying? Xbox Toy says go over Jimmy. I wish I had my Thinker Swim downloaded on this computer. I could show you like all my lines and stuff. I don't have anything on this. I just started using TradingView. I guess I just still have when I was playing this inside bar play last week, but I don't have my lines on here. I just know that Jimmy went to the moon today. And hopefully it goes to the moon again tomorrow.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, so real quick. So I set it up, or I think I did. So I put it at the top and the bottom of today on the daily. So you're saying to wait on the break of one of those to get in, or?
No, wait on the break of this candle, yesterday's candle.
Yesterday, so you have nothing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So one of those. So the top or the bottom of it. Don't get in before, right?
You need to wait on the break of the candle.
Gotcha. Okay. This makes it so much simpler.
And if you can see the full time frame continuity, for the most part, is pointing to the upside, just like the other. As he's it should be the same on SPY and QQQ as far as full time frame continuity. Yeah, so they're all today. So you see any other questions, STB?
I think, yeah, there is a couple more questions. Let me go and look back to it. Sorry. So do all the levels just apply to last candle level opposite of entry? Homegrown Wealth was asking that. He's still in here.
Levels just apply to last candle. No, we use the last candle to help gauge our entry and our first profit target. So it really depends on what time frame you're looking at. Like I use a daily to set targets for me. It's a little bit harder to set targets on like the 1 minute or the 5 or 15 minute, unless it's just a simple scalp. And like I said, I still scalp the same way where once I get my 40-50%, I get out get out with most of my profit, and then I leave runners. But in using the strat way, you're supposed to get out on your first pivot point. So if you're, let's say, let me go down to the 5 minute. If I was looking to scalp this, I wouldn't have scalped this much today, but I'll go yesterday, like I did earlier, and wait for an actionable signal. Like there's the one this one here. This was a Nirvana. We had the inside bar followed by the outside bar. Remember, we said that depending on the color that it closes is important because it can sometimes indicate the direction of the next candle, so I wouldn't have gotten in until it broke above the high of this candle, including this little tiny wick. So once it broke above this, I would then have gotten in for calls. And you would use, since this entry is above, would use this candle, and then you probably could use this as your first target because that's the nearest pivot point. We couldn't use this as a target because we're already above that entry. So I would use this as the nearest first target. But like I said, I scout for it to a percentage and then get out. So does that answer your question?
Let me see if he's typing. Okay, so he said stop losses levels. Sorry, how do you set your stop loss levels? Also, do you apply the strat to your lower level timeframes? Also, like looking at 1, 2, 3 on 1 or 5 minute.
Oh, your stop. Oh, you put it at the bottom of the candle. So you would put your stop loss here. So if I'm using this as to know when to gain entry on the next candle, we wait for the break of this, and my stop would be down here. I don't use stop losses though. I'm not saying that that's what everyone else should do, especially with like SPY and SPX. I don't normally use stop losses. It really depends on what ticker. Like if it's a new ticker, I use mental stop losses. I normally will cut if I'm down more than, depending on the ticker, anywhere between 20 to 30%. So.
Okay.
In the strat, you would just use the bottom of the previous or top, depending on which side you entered on. That would be where you put your stop loss.
And then I'm gonna chop your name. I'm sorry, Jimichi bot person.
Is that a real person?
I don't know.
What does the bot say?
It says, or the 50% rule, right? Rather than the bottom of the candle. 50% retracement, a 50% retracement rule.
Yeah. Yeah, you could. I'll let you answer that one.
I mean,
that's actually how you use it.
Yeah, that's how I've been using it. The 50% retracement rule, I like to use that sometimes. Either when I see a 2 up, if it goes up and I'm on calls, and I see it reversing, and I would use the 50% retracement rule as one of my supports as a support. If I'm on puts and I get it's a 2 down, then I like to use the 50% retracement rule as a resistance. Actually saved my ass last week. Made a lot of money because of it, because SPY touched the 50% retracement rule. It wicked it, and then it just bounced right back down. I was able to what I did, that was my indication, like, oh well, it looks like we're not going to continue going up. So and then I was able to average down and able to get out with a lot of profit after that.
Awesome. Have any more questions?
I think that's it.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. That was amazing, though. I love how you guys took the steering wheel tonight. Taught me a lot.
I'm glad you know something. Even though you were late, don't be late next time, okay?
I'm sorry.
I'll let you know way ahead of time. You still was late.
I was expecting a text from you, but I didn't get one, so I was like, well, maybe tonight's an off night.
Oh, yeah. No betting tonight, but I'm back on it tomorrow.
All right, guys. Well, I think that concludes everything. I hope you guys learned some things. Thank you guys so much for attending. And any feedback? I'll figure it out how I can upload the. I don't know. I think I'll just view I don't know how to upload a PowerPoint into Discord.
You can send it to me. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out for everybody.
Thank you.
You upload it on
Grails. It was awesome.
Next time, bring food, and drinks and a DJ.
I got Spotify.
You got Spotify, yeah.
The free version, though.
You guys killed it for real, though. For real.
Yeah, Huey, send that to me.
And I want you guys to be more. Everyone on this call, I want you guys to be a little bit more brave, because there's things that you use, strategies that you use that make you a lot of money that a lot of people on these calls can learn from. So, and this is what this community is all about, just learning and growing all together. So you guys did an amazing job. I loved it. Obviously great feedback. Thank you so much.
Hey, you recorded this?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh no. No, it's all good. Okay, thanks guys. Well, I'll close off. Bye. You guys have a good night. See you guys tomorrow.
Good night.
Thank you, STB and Fab.
Thank you for coming.